This is your radio, Cayman.
In answer to his question about the subjects,
there are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman, talk today.
Oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What is happening now? There are homeless and hungry.
Now it's time for us to stand up for God or we'll fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
Good afternoon and welcome to Radio Cayman's Talk Today program. I'm Kathy Miller filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks this afternoon. And on this segment of Talk Today, at least from 12:15 until 1 p.m., we are welcoming from the Cayman Crystal Caves, we have manager Archie Whitaker and director Matthew Adams. We're going to be discussing the newest developments and attractions at Cayman Crystal Caves. And then from 1 until 2 p.m., I'm kind of be shaking the tables up here. That's what I'm going to be doing. I am talking about the cost of living with millennial Caymanians, and this conversation was sparked by what I have heard and what I have seen. It's almost like a mass exodus of Caymanians leaving their own country because they cannot afford to live here and work here and provide for themselves. So that is going to be from 1 p.m. until 2, and joining me in studio for that will be Colin Bodden, Kayla Wells, and Victor Crumbly. These are all millennial Caymanians, and we're going to hear how they feel about the cost of living situation and really the reality coming from this generation that's supposed to be, coming up and taking care of the younger generation next. So we're going to go for a quick disclaimer, and then when we return, I will be speaking with Archie Whitaker and Matthew Adams from Cayman Crystal Caves. Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And on this segment of Talk Today, we are talking about Cayman Crystal Caves. And I have in studio with me manager Archie Whitaker and director Matthew Adams. We're discussing the newest developments and attractions at Cayman Crystal Caves and what I call a spooktacular Halloween event. So good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to Talk Today. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us.
No problem.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Kathy, and thank you for having us as well.
No problem. So I love Cayman Crystal Caves. I just want to start this conversation by saying that. It took me a couple years before I think a couple years or maybe a year or two, because you opened in, was it 20?
April of 20.
Oh, yeah, then a couple
original.
years. Because I think it was either October 2019 or October 2018 that I came.
Okay.
And
well, you
I
have to come back now. Yes.
Even more. Okay.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was absolutely blown away by that attraction.
Mm-hmm.
When people come to Cayman and they ask, what should I do? That is definitely one of the attractions I say, because I couldn't believe what was built there, and not necessarily completely built, but how you guys had to build around to make these caves accessible.
Make it user-friendly, indeed.
Yeah. So if you can, just give our listeners a bit of a history of Cayman Crystal Caves.
Well, thank you, Kathy, again for allowing us to come on board and talk today to showcase and verbalize to or your listening audience and Radio Cayman, and of course Talk Today about our upcoming attractions to our location. So today with my director, Mr. Matthew Adams, we're here to promote and inform your radio audience to the upcoming attractions at Cayman Crystal Caves, which of course is now rated at as Cayman's #1 tourist attraction. Woo. But before Kathy, thank you, Kathy, before I go into what we're here for, if you'll permit me just for 2 minutes, just to have the opportunity to first and foremost say a great big thank you for our local audience of the Caymans for since we reopened under our new management umbrella in April of 2022, we have had an amazing support from our local populace, and I just want to say a really great thank you. None of where we're at right now would have been possible if it wasn't for the support of our local audience. So a great big thank you to everyone. Secondly, to all of our educational systems within the Caymans, all of our local schools. We have had an amazing support from all of the students from a cross section, and it was literally amazing to be able to showcase the uniqueness of Cayman Crystal Caves, but most importantly, to be able to incorporate our newest attraction, which we introduced about 6 months ago, which is our historical side of Cayman Crystal Caves. We are of the opinion at Cayman Crystal Caves that no attraction is truly an entity unless one can somewhat showcase its past, and in our case, our past is our brief little bit of our history, which we have now incorporated into our daily routine.
Excellent.
Lastly, on my 3-minute off the track.
Good, no problem.
To first and foremost, again, also to extend to my amazing staff, which is to date 99% Caymanian. Yeah, and all of our success could or would not be possible if it wasn't for having the uniqueness of each and every one of them. And I just wanted to tell them a great big thank you for all of their assistance. Now, that does not mean that because today's payday that I can get a call tomorrow morning at 5:30 saying, don't feel like coming in today, Mr. Archie. It was just a kudos to everyone. So thank you so much for that. Now, if you'll allow me, Kathy, I'm going to jump right in. And on Monday...
Well, wait, before we get to that.
Okay.
Because you did say in this 3-minute opening spiel of yours, which was only just maybe 2, so that's okay. I did ask if you could give a brief history, and you did say nothing is as important as knowing what that history behind the Cayman Crystal Caves is. So you already said it in your spiel that it's important to know. So I'd like you to give our background listeners a little bit of a history to Cayman Crystal Caves.
Okay, so in our day-to-day routine at Cayman Crystal Caves, once our guests are meet into our holding area, I personally give a little bit of an orientation of our property. And it pretty much starts something around the lines that before Cayman Crystal Caves became one of Grand Cayman's most popular tourist attractions, the location has actually played a major role into the development of the little community and village that we all live in and are a part of, known as Old Man Bay, within the district of Northside.
Yes.
Back in the day, there were literally 7 first settling families to that little community of Old Man Bay, and those 7 first settling families were the McCoys, the Millers, the Whitakers, the Fredericks, the Grains, and the Browns. Wow. Those 7 families made up the dominancy of our little village of Old Man Bay, and to this day, those last names are still most popular as you go through our village.
That's why everybody asks me if I'm a Miller.
Exactly.
From Northside. I mean, I am a Miller, but from Northside.
Connected as well, because they go all over. Yeah. So that's just to give you a small taste. I mean, it is pretty much a 8.5-minute orientation, just to give our folks a little bit well-rounded idea, and then it goes into our national tree, which is the silver thatch palms, and all the arts and crafts of which was created from it during those eras, and that place was also known as the central trading point for our entire village during that era. So it really is an appropriate start for what they go on to see as they enter the caverns.
Right. Well, I didn't know that, so that's news to me about those 8 names, family names that are out there. So.
Yeah, and then the importance of the the location and the attraction to that community. I mean, that's where they got their source of water
Exactly.
from, right? They had a big well there.
Where the caves are right now.
Yeah, the same property where it is, yeah. And they, like Archie said, I mean, there was, in the front, they call it the big house, which was where, like, they had the kitchen dances and the gatherings and the main trading, you know. So it's something that long-term, we're in our long-term vision, we're looking to sort of bring back there, right, and recreate back there in that area. But, and so that's history, and then more recent history was when, you know, Christian Sorensen came to the island, and I met him through a mutual friend, a mutual acquaintance, and we got to talking, giving him advice just from a attraction and tourism standpoint, and really learning from him, you know, the vision that he had for the place. I mean, you said it when you went in there, it blew your mind away. When I went in there, it blew my mind away, right? Because I never knew from here that there's anything like that in Cayman, you know? We know about the caves in Cayman Brac, but...
Yes, but these are very different.
Yeah, they are. And everything that was done there was meticulously done, right? Like, they went in by hand, cleared all of that out, and very sensitive to the environment that they're in, right? To, as much as possible, try and protect the natural environment.
And I think you guys did a phenomenal job with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what we in everything that we do, we want to continue that. You know, another thing Christian was very passionate about was employing Caymanians, right? And as Archie said, I mean, that's one of the things we pride ourselves on, is that 99% of our staff are Caymanian, right?
Yeah,
our guides are Caymanian. We have one permit holder that's a guide. And the same thing with our reservations team, right? Because, again, it's important for us. We want to share. We don't just want it to be an attract where you go to, you go through the tour and then you leave. We want, when people leave there, they've had the opportunity to interact with Caymanians, to learn about our culture and history. That's this whole experience now that Archie is doing is amazing, right? Because it ties everything together, right?
It's so important because when I first moved here, a good 18 years ago, I didn't really find Caymanians showing me like the different attractions here. That's what I noticed. It was mostly expats, and it was mostly North American expats. And then I went to Jamaica, and it was a huge difference. I like Jamaicans everywhere with such pride showing you all these different things. So I think it does make such a difference, and it's much more authentic in that sense. I'm learning about this place from Caymanians, and that sense of pride again is instilled. So indeed. I love it. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue the discussion on Cayman Crystal Caves.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what, though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles until December 31st, 2023. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman News.
Police believe a tall, slim, masked man shot the victim on the 20th.
The search for 2 people missing at sea has come to an end.
Charged with attempted murder and possession of an unlicensed firearm, received not guilty verdicts.
The biggest driver of the overtime is on the domestic side of the fire service.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Listening to the general public.
The Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Because
There are more questions than answers.
waiting to take your calls right now.
What the public is saying.
Welcome back to Radio Cayman's Talk Today show, and I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. A reminder that you can give us a call at 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp message us at 925-3261. And I'm in studio right now with Archie Whitaker, manager, and Matthew Adams, director of Cayman Crystal Caves. All right, gentlemen, you gave a bit of a brief history, what Cayman Crystal Caves is about. I know there's more to it, but we are kind of not somewhat limited in time. We have until 1, so I want to hear about what your kind of latest developments and with the attraction site are.
So, Matt, I'm going to just jump right in. Is that okay?
Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our radio audience, as of Monday, this coming Monday, Cayman Crystal Caves will be introducing our newest attraction to our location, which is called Cayman Crystal Caves Mining Company. It is a family-based attraction with where everyone gets their hands dirty and be able to enjoy the suspense of finding something quite amazing and memorable, which, in my opinion, are what family moments and memories are predominantly made up of. Cayman Crystal Caves Mining Company is a part of a worldwide attraction with over 450 locations around the world and in about 20 different countries. We are excited to introduce the uniqueness of our family attraction as a part of Cayman Crystal Caves' new venture. That attraction will open to the general public on Monday, the 29th of October. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are Matthew and I are here in the studio at this time. If any of you would like to call in and get a few more details about how it works, we'll be more than happy to verbalize. But we are on a limited time frame, so I'll jump right on to the next in line. So. On Tuesday, which is October the 31st, it's worldwide known as Halloween Day, conflict to those religious types, but we're just looking at it from a perspective of where all of the younger kids can come and enjoy a safe and comfortable environment with all the oohs and ahs and scary effects of what Halloween brings to the table.
I just want to say, Archie, it's not just younger kids.
I
am in my early 40s now, but I still celebrate Halloween.
I know.
My dog has costumes.
Same here.
Yes.
Well, I got
okay,
3
good.
dogs. We've been decorating. We've been putting on our outfits and trying them on for the last 2 weeks
Look
just
at
to
you.
get it. That, so yes, I'm
You're
there
in
with
the spirit
you.
of Halloween.
Yeah,
I love it.
Indeed.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing some Halloween giveaways, right?
Oh, we're giving lots of Halloween giveaways.
Okay, good,
yes,
great.
Without a doubt. So again, anyone who wants to call in, and yes, we're giving away some complimentary entry fees to our event on Tuesday night, which, Kathy, I'm going to jump right in here, is actually Cayman Crystal Caves' first ever evening event at our location. And what a better appropriate time to showcase Cayman Crystal Caves at night is during Halloween, because when you actually walk through it during the day, it gives you the ooh effect, yes, but during the nighttime after dusk, there are so many critters that our Halloween party is just going to be literally out of sync for that occasion. occasion, you have the bats, you have all the other critters, you have the roaches. I mean, the list.
I mean, I don't know if roaches attract people.
Well, not attract, but I'm saying as in terms of the effect.
Yes.
We have all of the nature and natural nature things that are right there.
Right.
So we're transforming. The lake cave is actually going to be where the tour is going to be. So we're doing a few decorations in there just to give it the scary effect. And then, of course, on our the entire area is going to be well decorated for the occasion. And then at our Treehouse restaurant, we're going to do, we normally would say it's a scary house thing, but we're doing a scary house of goodies. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's gonna be part of candies and cookies and cupcakes and drinks and sodas. The list just literally goes on and on and on. We want everyone that walks in, or every kid that walks in there on Tuesday night, to write down from now in their calendar that next year the spot to go is at Cayman Crystal Caves, because it was so awesome. Not to mention the fact that we're doing a costume competition. There's prizes and surprises for the best dressed costume in 3 categories. So we're ecstatically excited to be able to bring this one of many firsts to Cayman Crystal Caves.
I think it's amazing. Yes. I think you have the most perfect area to have a Halloween party.
I totally agree.
It's just the lighting of it alone is going to be quite amazing. Yeah. I mean, for an adult party there too, but I mean, that could get a little out of hand. We could see some.
Well, we're geared up for that as well, because we're really hoping that, the family members are going to come along. So our restaurant are going to be going through their soft phase of opening. So mom and dad can sit at the restaurant, have a cocktail or a smoothie or maybe a little munchy while the kids are enjoying all of this wonderful stuff that we have ready for them to showcase.
And we have some tickets we can give away for
and
them,
we have some tickets that we can give away right now.
Let's remind our callers of our number. You have 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. If you, your family, you have some children want to come, or some friends, and you want to go to that Halloween party this coming Tuesday, October 31st at Cayman Crystal Caves, come check it out. Especially if you haven't been, this is a great time for your chance to win a ticket to go and experience that spooktacular evening. Yes.
So, other than the attractions for our Halloween special, we've been the last 2 months we have really been working hideously to get everything ready for the reopening, the rebranding of our new restaurant and gift shop, which is also on location. I was actually fortunate enough yesterday to go through the taster's menu of the choices that are going to be on our menu for the restaurant. And oh my God. Yeah, I was just sad that I had to run off to go and get the other tour off. So I only got half of the menu. So I'm like, I can't wait to go back this afternoon when they're doing the other half. And I've already told Tibor, just hold it. Now, whatever you do, make sure that I'm there so I can get the best half, because I'm the mouth and ears of the property. So if I talk about it, I can assure you it's going to make quite a lasting impact.
Quality control.
Hello, you know what
quality
I'm saying.
Control, right? Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
indeed.
What about you?
Have you to make sure Adrian gets his
burger? I know.
Have you tasted all the new menu?
Not yet. No, I missed it yesterday, but I'm going to be up there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
So as I said, our new restaurant is going to be opening as well, as we're doing a soft opening, correct?
Yeah. We're going to be open tomorrow.
Over this weekend and on Tuesday. But then the following week after that, we're going to go and head first with, all the oohs and ahs, do a big promotion for it as well. So now, just to let our listening audience know that at Cayman Crystal Caves, it's not just an attraction now. You can come and actually spend the entire day or an entire morning, hang out, do the attractions, go through our Sandy Creek Mining Company, do the tour of our caverns, and then end up at our Treehouse Cafe, where you can sit and spend as long long as you want,
Yeah.
enjoying all of the amenities that we have to offer. Our gift shop is awesome. It was great before, but now it's just
better.
exceptional.
Well, it has to be even better. It
Well,
can't be
you know
worse
what I'm
than
saying.
you know what I'm saying. That we have to keep getting better,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
Yeah.
curious, you had I mean, everything mostly kind of shut down for a minute during
Yes,
pandemic, right?
yes,
But then reopened. So the attraction reopened, but the restaurant didn't.
And all of those
right,
were
yeah.
remain stagnant for the time because we went through a period of some of the folks that were there previously, went through some difficulties, so they're no longer with us. Finding new vendors for the location and getting it up and operational, all of which takes time. Plus, we've enhanced and improved the area massively since it was there previously.
Wow. Yeah, because I mean, like I was saying, when we were on break, everything there is off grid, right? So we had to get the solar system in place, the solar power, get the water, all of that in place, that whole system, and then it just takes time. So we're very, very excited to finally be, because this process started April 2022, right?
Wow, yeah.
Exactly. It's just taken that long to get everything in order, get all the permitting and all that in order, so.
Yeah, that's hard. That's a hard
But we're
one.
excited because,
We
as
gotta,
Archie said, we have an amazing chef there.
Good.
And
excellent.
We had one of our guys that's from when we reopened been asking me, waiting for his burger, right? So he'd be happy now,
All right, so that's good to hear. And man, I'd like to hear more about what else you had to do to prepare for that. But we got to go for a commercial break. Now, reminder. You got to call in to win these tickets. So if you want to win these tickets to go to the spectacular Halloween party at Cayman Crystal Caves on Tuesday, October 31st. That's the date, right? It's otherwise $10 admission, and it's from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Give us a call at 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp us at 925-3261. And we're going to go to a quick commercial break.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what, though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
It's party season, which means it's pizza boat season. Aren't you tired of the same boring pizza? It's time to party. All aboard the pizza boat. Birthday parties, holiday functions, office luncheons, game nights. Whatever your occasion, bring the fun with Pizza Boat, a Cayman twist to pizza. Bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas. All day, every day. What's more, now you can enjoy a boat-shaped pizza with toppings of your choice. It's Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. and Fridays until 3 a.m. Pickup or delivery 949-0000 or get it online at www.pizzaboat.ky. Pizza Boat. Experience the ultimate pizza voyage.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Next month, the Needs Assessment Unit will be transformed into the new Department of Financial Assistance, which is designed to help meet the needs of Caymanians who qualify for financial assistance. To help you understand the upcoming changes, town hall meetings are taking place in every district over the next 3 weeks, with refreshments provided. To view a schedule of when representatives will be in your district, visit the Needs Assessment Unit on Instagram at NAU Cayman or on Facebook at Needs Assessment Unit Cayman. Call 946-0024 if you need more information.
CUC Advisory.
Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Wednesday, November 1st between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. for Raven Avenue off Rex Crichton Boulevard in Prospect and all side roads including Litigate Court, Flintstone Drive, Bedrock Circle, and Rockshire Drive. For more information, please contact COC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@coc.ky.
All during this month, October, your Yesteryear Musical will be celebrating Older Persons Month. Or you might say, all those folks with a great wealth of accumulated knowledge and experience. Wonderful. Your Yesteryear Musical, Saturday evenings at 8 o'clock on Breeze Radio. Entertaining, enlightening, and inspirational. Topical with CI cultural and heritage flashbacks. And the wonderful music of yesteryear, from the Thomas Edison era to the recent past. Your Yesteryear Musical, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on Breeze Radio, 105.3 FM in Grand Cayman and 91.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your Yesteryear Musical, all during October, celebrating Older Persons Month.
Listening to the general public.
The Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Because
there are more questions than answers. Radio Cayman.
Waiting to take your calls right now.
What the public is saying.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We are talking Cayman Crystal Caves, and I have with me in studio Archie Whitaker, who's the manager, and director Matthew Adams. We talked about the spectacular Halloween party. I call it the spectacular one.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening Tuesday. Remember, you can call us if you want to win tickets. We'll be giving away tickets maybe throughout the day for this event.
Yes, and we can leave them with you. Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. And you did mention the mining company, so I got a couple questions about that. So if you could go into more detail about the mining company, what can we expect if we go to that attraction?
Kathy, as I said, our mining company that we have now at Cayman Crystal Caves is part of a body that is 450 locations around the world and within 20 different countries. But basically what it is it's a reservoir that is set up on somewhat, let's say how to describe to the listening audience, it would be like train tracks that go around and different shapes and designs, and within that the reservoir of water runs underneath those train tracks, and then you have a little wooden box of which you purchase when you come in bags of soil. Now what the mining company is, it's a collection of unique gems and crystals and charms and rocks from all unique places around the world, and those bags, they come in variable sizes of 3, 5, and 10-pound bags. Their names are Pay Dirt, Emerald Stick, and Mother Lode. The Mother Lode is actually the 10-pound bag, and that has a combination of a little bit of everything that's in it. So as when I said earlier that everyone gets their hands dirty, you're actually dumping that into a first phase. You're washing it out, getting rid of all of the sand and mold and plot that's in there, and then you go through different stages of it. And at the final stage, when you're washing it down, then if you're lucky, as I used earlier, the word is the suspense of finding something that's quite unique and memorable is basically what you will find. So it is a fun-filled family attraction that every bag that you purchase as well gives you an identifiable little card that shows you all of the varying stones and crystals and unique rocks that you will find that identifies in the parts of the world of where they come from and what makes them quite unique. So it's a collection of a collage of unique gems and stones.
Do they get to walk away with any?
They take they purchase it, so they get to take away with it. Yes.
Oh, okay,
yes,
great.
yes.
Are any of these stones unique to Cayman?
Unfortunately, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but will be not yet. I use that term, not yet. we're working on that. Caymanite will be the first one that's added to our inventory.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes,
I was thinking
yes,
because I know
without a doubt.
Caymanite is
Yes, yeah.
unique to the Cayman Islands. So okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to sustainability and environmental impact, those are really big themes in the Cayman Islands, especially right now. We're hearing a lot about it. And some people might think, okay, they built a bit of a mining attraction in Cayman Crystal Caves. I guess what could we say? Does the mining attraction present major risks to environmental impact?
Matt, I'm going to let you take that one because we went through a whole procedure with aquaculture, everybody for that. Yeah,
it's a unique system, so it's a mining sluice setup, right? And the water is all recycled. The sand flows into its own reservoir, and then once that fills up, we empty that, and we end up reusing that. The sand, we're using that for cement for future projects that we're going to be doing there, right? So it's completely sustaining. There's no risk to damage the environment at all. I mean, we had to go through Department of Agriculture inspections on it, right, to get it. The sand was inspected and all that before it came here to get the license. So, like I said, a lot of that 1 year and a half is mainly working through a lot of issues, right?
For sure.
But no, it is. It's completely self-containing, and it's a unique system. We visited one of the attractions in San Antonio, a similar attraction, and that's one of the things that the owners said to us, look, you have to get this here because families love it. They cater as well to a lot of families, and it's just an amazing experience, you know. You get to, you pan for treasures, like reenacting that, you know, what the old prospectors were doing, right? Except you're guaranteed to get to walk home with something, you know.
Well, that's good.
And not just see sand flow through. You know, you actually get your treasures at the end of the day. So.
Who did you have to work with? So I know you had to get permission from I think it was Department of Agriculture and planning
and the ministry. Under their ministry, you get a license to bring in they call it aggregate because the sand. The bags are sand mixed with these gems and fossils and all that in there. So.
So they come already kind of pre.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought it was something that you might be mixing.
No. They come pre-packaged and everything is labeled, so you get a sense of what could be in the bag.
Okay.
But you're guaranteed you're gonna get you're gonna get some gems or fossils in the bag, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So what brought this idea of having this mining company? Because I think you said it's part of a body of 400 or so sites, right?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. So I went beginning of. When was this? This year, in January, to visit an attraction in San Antonio that they had actually come down here when Christian was working on the lighting.
Okay.
Because they were renovating their caves, and so we had that connection there.
Okay.
And when we were redoing our lighting, the guys that were down here doing it said, you need to go meet these people because they're really, and they are super nice people. It's a family-owned attraction as well. And that's what they told us. So, Matt, if there's one thing you guys do, get this thing in.
So that sparked the idea.
That sparked the idea, yeah. And so from then we were working on it. And so we're really excited to have that. Really excited to have the restaurant finally going.
Again, at least,
Yeah. And again, environmental concern, everything there is self-sustaining, right? Off the grid. It's all
Does that make it harder to find, I guess, vendors that want to work in a off-the-grid environment?
Well, I don't know about
reluctancy or people are gung-ho to
It's a challenge. But like I said, we have some amazing partners that we're working with, and it is a partnership, right?
Yeah.
It's investment on both sides. We made significant investments in just that infrastructure to get to where we are. So when you come back, you can see all the improvements, right? And I'll even show you the behind the scenes stuff because that's where that's where the money's going to, right? Yeah.
Here's our Archie's. I can't remember.
Matt with that one.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, Archie's like, I'm going to be eating the food. Don't worry.
Exactly.
But we want, like Archie alluded to, we want it to be a destination where people come to, and even if you've gone on a tour, you can come back, sit down, spend an afternoon there, just sitting down, enjoying. Being in the middle of nature, right? Because it just, trust me, that's my stress relief. You go down there, you sit down there, and you're listening to the birds chirping.
Yes.
There's a woodpecker that comes by there every day at like 2-3 o'clock. He's there, right? So come down and enjoy an amazing meal, right?
Yeah.
We have Cape Brew and draft and all that, right? So it'll be a cool experience.
Nice. It is a very serene place.
Yeah.
I know exactly how you're describing it. I can feel it. So I definitely have to make my way back and check it out.
And, you know, it's as Matt said, there's so many advantages for us with having our in-house restaurant available right now. We're embarking on what's probably going to be one of our biggest and seasons going forward in 2023, or Christmas and winter season. So we're just happy to have everything on point, be able to showcase not just the caves, but all the amenities that we have on the property. And then, of course, with the restaurant, there's so many other outlets that we can go. There's New Year's Eve parties, there's anniversaries with, you know, special occasions that Cayman Crystal Caves can literally blow it out of the roof for any individual, depending on what the occasion is and what we want. And we definitely have all the backdrops and the settings for any
exactly.
occasion. You know what I'm saying?
It's
so, yeah.
Like I said, for a Halloween party, it's the most
well, that's
perfect
just
place.
one. You know what I'm saying? But you're moving forward, just keep us on direct dial, because it's just going to literally get more and more interesting as it goes. Yeah, for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we'll maybe have about 30 seconds left before we have to go to the 1 p.m. news headlines. So if there's anything in closing that you'd like to let our listeners know, again, they can call in and win those tickets. We'll be giving away the tickets today, at least up until Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. So you can use them. So in a nutshell, I just wanted to say again, thank our listening audience for Talk Today, and Kathy and Sterling for giving us the opportunity to be on Common Air and be able to tell our listening audience about all the attractions and the new things that's happening at Cayman Crystal Caves. We're looking forward to seeing each and every one of you. If it's not over the holiday weekend here for Halloween, but as you guys have all been very supportive for us, whenever you come, we are guaranteed to deliver what we refer to as, on a daily basis, the uniqueness of our Cayman kind hospitality in every sense of its word. And I think that is such a strong statement for us to make. As you guys look on any of our social media sites within the last year and a half since our new structure has been put in place, that we just continuously get better. And that's all because that we're very comfortable with who we are. We're comfortable with the product that we're selling, and we're all predominantly family. And when you have those three attributes together, there's literally nothing that can deny our uniqueness of our Cayman kind hospitality to showcase itself on a daily basis.
And that's why they're number one for attractions in Cayman, right? You can check them out at CaymanCrystalCaves.com and check out that Halloween party on October 31st and listen to Radio Cayman for your chance to win some tickets. We're going to go to the 1 p.m. headline news, and then stay tuned because I'm going to have a very special segment. We're talking about the cost of living, and I've got in studio joining me, I have Colin Bodden, Kayla Wells, and Victor Crumbly. We're going to hear from young Caymanian millennials on how they're managing to survive right now in this economic environment.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. The Cayman Islands, after 2 years of hard work and engagement, both locally and internationally, is embracing today's Financial Action Task Force's decision to remove us from its anti-money laundering grey list. In international news, Israel says its ground forces are expanding operations tonight as large explosions are seen in the Gaza Strip. An Israel Defense Forces spokesman tells Gaza City residents to move south for their safety, and a BBC team in southern Israel near the border say the bombardment appears heavier than usual. Israel has been carrying out strikes in Gaza since October the 7th Hamas attacks that killed 1,400 people. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says 7,000 people have been killed there since. Russia is executing soldiers who try to retreat from a bloody offensive in eastern Ukraine, the White House has said. According to the U.S., some of the casualties suffered by Russia are on the orders of their own leaders. And those are your latest headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
It's one of the best moments of your life when you welcome your baby into the world. The HSA's experienced women's health and maternity team provides the highest quality of care throughout your pregnancy and delivery. As a JCI accredited hospital, we are the leader in maternal care, safely delivering over 700 babies annually. Visit hsa.ky for more information. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
I am Teresa Pitcairn, the chairperson of the Cayman Islands Beautification Task Force. Derelict vehicles are not only unsightly, they also lower the quality of life in our neighborhoods and pose serious public health and safety risk. To report a derelict vehicle, please call the Department of Environmental Health on 949-6696.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born September 25th, 1947 at Watering Place, Cayman Brac, Royce Adolphus Dilbert was the firstborn son of Hallen and Grace Dilbert, née Tibbets. Like many of the men of his time, he spent many years at sea. During his breaks from sea life, Mr. Dilbert employed his diverse skill sets. He worked at Alfred Scott's block factory as a mechanic with Eston Scott, and his uncle Bergman Dilbert performed dynamite blasting in Cayman Brac with the late Reverend Lee King, as well as worked at MRCU in Grand Cayman. He was also an entrepreneur selling fruits, cars, and tires, and painted and repaired vehicles. His mechanical skills proved immeasurable when in 1979, working in the Campeche Bank oil field, Mexico, his ship was chartered by Halliburton to supply material to cap the exploratory well which blew out in Mexico's Bay of Campeche. In 1981, he retired from sea and took employment with the Cayman Brac Power and Light Company as chief engineer, where he remained until his retirement in December of 2018.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Listen to the general public.
The Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Because
there are more questions than answers.
Waiting to take your calls right now.
What the public is saying.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and I'm most excited about this segment of the show because it's been on my mind since late May when I was out with my friend Colin Bodden, who's here in studio with me. I've also got Victor Crumbly in studio, and who's just rolled in the door is Kayla Wells. These are all young professional Caymanians, and we're going to be talking about the cost of living. Now, this conversation was sparked because I was out with Colin for his birthday with his friends, and it was a whole bunch of Caymanians, and we got into the subject of cost of living, and most of the people say, you know, we're preparing to leave. It'll be the next few years or in the next 5 years or so, we're preparing for our family to leave, and, you know, we can't see us raising kids here. Maybe we might return if things get better in the future, if we can afford to. And I was shocked. I think, Colin, mostly I was shocked because every person that was there, all the couples that were there, they all owned a home. Mm-hmm. So I was like, but you own a home. Like, thinking that should be that should be some sort of security for you, right? But not necessarily. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that what seems to be like a mass exodus of Caymanians leaving. I've seen them leave, and I'm hearing them talking about leaving because they can't afford to live in their own country. And that leaves me to wonder, who is this country developing for? Is it Caymanians? Because it doesn't seem like that way to me. And I've been here 18 years to see what's going on. And I feel like, should I even be here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel there's almost a guilt in that sense, but I'm also part of that struggle, you know? So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
That was quite a long intro there, hey?
No, it was a good intro.
That was good.
Very good. Yeah.
It was real. It was a real.
I felt it. I felt
really
it
what
for
we're
sure.
Feeling. So I want you guys to give us just a really brief description. You know, you don't have to say your exact age, but you know, kind of your age bracket and kind of education level, your profession, because I want people to know, you know, get an idea of who it is that we're talking to in studio.
Yeah, ladies first.
Okay, thank you. So, for everyone listening, my name is Kayla Wells. My age bracket is between 25 and 35. I actually have my master's in international human resource management. So, and then I also have my designation in HR. So I'm a certified professional in HR.
Excellent.
So that's my background.
Okay.
And I've been in HR for almost 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a bit worried when you said young Caymanians are here. If me and Colin still fit that bill.
Yes.
I'm 38 years old. My name is Victor Crumbly. I studied marketing. I have a degree in marketing. I've been a long-time civil servant in terms of working with young people. Now working in procurement. So I'm getting a good eye into how we're spending our funds as a country. And when Kathy calls to come on the radio with her,
you know you love it.
You just go on the radio with Kathy.
Makes sense.
Thanks, Vic.
Yeah, so I'm a married father, you know, just trying to be middle class. And again, with the conversation at hand of cost of living and things that people are facing, I'm sort of in tune with some people who are having these feelings. So it was a discussion worth being a part of. And thank you for having me.
No problem. Thanks for always answering my call.
I am Colin Borden. I am a facility manager. I've been a manager now for 10 years, about 10 years.
Yeah.
I am certified in security, CCTV, any kind of risk management when it comes to security. So, and I'm a married man with a nice, lovely little 2-year-old. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
Beautiful.
It's been a while since I've been on radio.
Beautiful little girl.
Yeah. So
yes.
With that being said, we all feel it. Like I think it would be beating the horse by trying to go back on it. But since we've had that conversation, I'll say that I've talked to many other people that are feeling the same way, and that was in me. So imagine the other people that we don't get to talk to as well.
Right.
So it's scary, but I could understand why, because it doesn't matter what bracket you're in or how much you make or anything else. We're all feeling it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We are. And that's the thing, like you hear a lot of discussion, maybe you'll see comments on social media and friends talking amongst each other, and even people that I've reached out to as well, say, hey, could you think about joining the show? Some people, no, I can't. I'm sick of talking about this. Like, it's going to make me cry or I will get really angry. And I could hear that, that emotion. I'm like, that's the emotion I want. I want everybody to understand because we are feeling it. It's reality, right?
I think that's where we're at too, where people are just sort of, I don't want to say, I guess over it.
Tired.
So I was looking at some of the parties that are taking place, obviously some of the happy hour spots, the bars, and I'm understanding it a lot more now. That people just want to, I don't want to say ignore it, but at least this is their way of coping and dealing with the mundane and the routine of what we're facing.
All right, I believe we might have a caller online already. So that was pretty fast. Okay. And we'll take the call. I just hope that the caller, if you could make it your questions or comments a little succinct, a little quick, because we do have limited time. Some people can only be here for a very limited time, so I want to make sure we get, we hear what our in-studio guests have to say as well. So welcome to Talk Today, caller.
Yes, good afternoon, you and your panel there.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, young people. Bless you all. I think that Miss Kath, I think you said you've been here 18 years. I've been here over 73 years.
Yeah.
So I think I should see a couple of changes over those years. And yeah, the young people are leaving the island. Many of them are going off. Government is giving them scholarships, but when they come back, they ain't guaranteed no work. And the part with that, they will bring in foreign workers and ask the Caymanian to train them and pay the ones that they brought in more than the Caymanians that trained them. And what a sad state that Cayman is in. You know, I feel very sad because I got children and grandchildren overseas as well. For the same reason, they had to leave the island because they couldn't find any work here, you know? And when you can't find work in your own home, things are very bad. So as time go on, it ain't gonna get no better. It can just continue to get worse. So I am sorry for you young people as well, because like I said, in my time, our resume was come 7 o'clock in the morning, let me see what you can do. You didn't have no emails. You didn't have to get no police clearance. They told you to come in the morning. They wanted to try you to see what you could do. And that is how we work, you know?
Yeah.
All of my, I was never out of a job in my life. Never. When I went on a job, I stayed there until that job was finished. But nowadays, we have so many bosses, all chiefs, and we don't have no Indians. I don't know what you young people are going to do, but I sympathize with you all. And God bless the ones that do have a job and they can stay in the island, because it ain't going to get any better. It's going to get worse. And like I say, I saw many changes in my time. And trust me, we didn't have no technology, but we had more kindness and more love, and everybody was more happy. People are dying here, the young people as well as the elderly, because of stress and how the prices that came on is gone out of proportion. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, so much for your call. I want to thank you to the caller. It's interesting because he says that he sees it getting worse and he can remember how it used to be. Mm-hmm. And, you know, one of the questions I have for you is, I think we all have somewhat of a vision for our future, right? What we want for ourselves, what our goals are. Can you remember what your vision might have been like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and perhaps how that might have changed now because of the economic circumstances?
Oh, I guess that's loaded. And I guess, you know, for people that own property now, mm-hmm. You know, is to, you know, get a second property, have rental property mm-hmm. for like a retirement situation. That's normally the goal that most people have, or even starting a business of some sorts, right? And now it's quite impossible to do that, because now you have, you know, interest rates going up, food, every single essential thing has increased over the years. You know what I mean? even down to patties and stuff like that. I mean, you know, so it's right. As something as and I know it seems minute, but
no,
at
that's
the same
priority.
Yeah, so right, but at the same time, it's like if you know some people can't even afford to buy a simple pastry or a simple meal as that, or you know they'll have to do that because that's the only thing that they could afford. I mean, that just changes everything else.
Colin, I saw comments and thank God for Tortuga and their patty and Coke that I could get.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
And that's a fact.
And I think, you know, we might joke about it or talk about it lightheartedly, but even that, in terms of the food costs, people who are now having to resort to cheaper food, you know what that means long term for us. And
correct.
If you think now the inaction of whatever the government of the day or whoever it is, we're going to pay that cost down the line when it comes back down to healthcare and the infrastructure that's needed to take care of them. So it may seem as if it's a quick win right now, you know, the fast food options, the cheaper foods.
It's a public health crisis and a mental health crisis.
Back to that, yeah. Yeah.
It's actually heartbreaking thinking about this because of the repercussions that it will have, just because it seems now the more unhealthy food is a cheaper option, like you said. And that's what we have to resort to. And then imagine those families that, what is ramen? Ramen is what, like a couple dollars?
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably one of the worst things you can put in your body. But that's the only thing that you can afford to put in your body.
Right. So that's it's just the different chemical ingredients, the
Yeah.
MSG that's in the really, really cheap foods,
Yeah.
and that's going to lead to heart disease, obesity, diabetes, so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, what are we giving here for that? So we have to sacrifice. I'm not talking about living to a certain standard, but even to a normal, healthy enough standard. That's a decent living, and our priorities are. Your Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and that at the very, very bottom of that hierarchy of needs is food, shelter, clothing, right? That's what it is. So food is one of them. Food is one of the biggest ones.
Definitely.
But on top of that, the health insurance is now going up. So unhealthy food turning into unhealthy lifestyle, then you have to end up paying for more health insurance because those are going up.
Or denied in many
yeah.
cases, because guess what? You have these illnesses, and you're such a risk for us now, and we don't want to give you health insurance. That's a huge reality.
And touching on what the caller spoke about as well, is stress. I don't think we, really look how it's magnified, and I don't think we really think about it. And I think Victor said it earlier when we were kind of talking. People having to relieve their stress through other means is almost like unnecessary to some degree, because I think once again this has been something that we've been talking about for a long time. I have seen some changes that I think are working to some degree, or I could see the process being tweaked a little bit, and you could kind of make it work. But however, the urgency of it isn't as quick as we would need it to be.
Right.
When I see some people who are, I would say, younger than us, going through
Vic's feeling old, apparently. That's what he said in the beginning before we started the show.
Listen, I used to work with youth, right? So the youth are defined as between the ages of 10 and 25. So it was a hard day when I realized that I was no longer in that 25-year-old bracket, so I couldn't hide behind youth, right? But a concern that I have now with the situation being, difficult is a lack of, involvement. Care. That caller spoke to kindness and how we used to be, as a people, when you talk about populations growing and different cultures mixing and blending. My concern with the idea that if it becomes this bad, or it is this bad now, there'll be this lack of care and why get involved? It doesn't make any sense. You look at history, our Caymanians left to go work overseas back in the day on the boat, so that was a way of life. Just these sort of small things that people will pick up on and say, well, it's not going to get any better. So why bother? Let me go ahead and have a drink, or let me self-medicate in this way that perhaps isn't necessarily the best for me. And I think that's a byproduct that we're not really focusing on, that will have long-lasting effects. When we talk about politics, for example, we already have an issue with young people not feeling disenfranchised and not wanting to partake in that process. The appearance of inactivity is going to also continue to create that for them, and it's like, well, why bother? Or why get involved?
You mean inactivity by our elected officials?
Whatever.
Inactivity. That's what I would.
What it feels like, because it feels as if right now you talk about inflation, cost of living going up. We see what the Fed is trying to do in terms of raising the rates and hoping that's going to help curb it. But you talk about the people that we've spoken to, that's a general concern. It's like, well, what is going on? What is taking place? And I don't think people are asking for the goalposts to just shift automatically. We know businesses have to
take some time.
Yeah, they have to take some time, but they also have to, make profit to pay these employees, which in turn pays rent, groceries, all those other things. So it's a big, it's a macro level type of thing. But I do believe that people our age are kind of wondering, like, what's going on? When is the help coming, or when is the at least the perception of something that's being done going to take place for us?
I actually feel, our age. I'm pretty sure most of us are homeowners in here. I'm worried about the few years after us If you look at it now, there's nothing for them. I was talking to someone a couple of years younger than me. They're just finishing college, and they're like, what's the point of me coming back to Cayman? I can't afford a home. I can work for how many years, and by the time I can get to that level, what is the cost of housing going to be looking like at that point?
Right.
What's interest rates going to be looking like at that point? So it's kind of disheartening when they're working so hard in university, trying to come back home, but there's actually no home for them to come back to.
There'd be no price.
Yeah.
And that always, that leads kind of into my next question there, because we do know that a couple years ago, Cayman profited with, there was over $1 billion in real estate sales a couple years ago, right? Just coming out of COVID there, when we were let outside again after the pandemic, because COVID still exists. So $1 billion in real estate sales, that's never been reached. We reached it, and the majority of those sales were foreign purchasers and investors, not people resident in Cayman.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And a lot of the development that is going up for apartments or homes, I put $450K in my, at least that. So we're looking at a 1-bedroom, maybe around $350, but that's going to be so tiny. That might be the size of the studio here.
Yeah.
Tiny.
It's actually more. It's I guess some are 400 square feet now that are going for $400K.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, yes. And it all depends on your location also. But 400 square feet, that's smaller than a hotel room.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
That's almost a New York size hotel room.
Yes.
That would be considered a large New York size
Yes.
hotel room. And we know those are tiny, trust me. I've also talked to developers, and they said, well, there's no really such thing as affordable housing. We can't make affordable housing. So when you look at those things, that it's unaffordable to them to bring in the materials and be able to build affordable housing for people. So I guess, what are the solutions? What incentives would you want to see? What changes would you want to see? Because I absolutely believe that government can make certain changes.
Definitely.
They just
100%.
won't.
Yeah. Definitely.
They just won't, and they are catering to a very certain society and certain class of people, and much of them aren't Caymanians. So if any solutions or ideas, incentives that you guys would share that you think, man, that this could help us, because we're not just here to complain necessarily.
Oh, no,
right? We're not complaining, we're talking about the realities of what people are going through. But if there's any solutions that we could offer to say, hey, we want you guys to look at this and act on it, what would that be?
Well, I think just having these conversations, right, just opening the floor, making sure that people could say things, because once again, no one really has the answers, because there's so many finite. It's a lot of moving parts, right? Yeah. So, and we understand that. I think Victor was saying as well. We don't expect it to be something that's just right here, right now, but the transparency of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what the end goal is. I think that is the main thing, because we're just kind of up here thinking. So even you asking that question now, I am in my head like, for real, what are, And I think one of those things is definitely allotment of land specifically for affordable housing by the government, and working with developers, working with the banks, these things. Larger projects, using whatever, instead of having a concession for larger projects, using that money to go towards affordable housing only, so that way we're not just landlocking certain things. We're not just, making other people come in and buy up and then they don't even live here. There's some people that probably purchased land that never came to the Cayman Islands.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
So
yes. I think we definitely need to look into some kind of, just having that.
Yeah, pre-pandemic, I was house shopping, and that was the thing during the pandemic where I lost a property to someone who bought it on after a FaceTime FaceTime call, right? So that level of competition is definitely there, and I think it's something that we need to, for one, at least acknowledge, and then try to help our people understand how to play in that arena, I should say, to play in a more competitive scale, and then that may be something that government can get involved with in terms of trying to help at least balance it out or even it out. We've seen that recently with the stamp duty increases in terms of the price range.
The concessions.
The concessions, I should say, yeah. So it's a start, and I think to encourage governments, to encourage people in general, we start, but also need to continue. Let's get on to the next particular item that may assist.
I know Susan just told me to take a break first, but I think I'm going to take the caller first, Susan, and then we'll go to our 1:30 break. So I know that we do have a caller on the phone. Caller, thank you for calling, but please keep in mind you only have a couple of minutes to make your comment or ask a question to the panel in studio today. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Steve McField here.
How are you, Mr. McField?
Yeah, and I'd like to have a few comments to the younger people there.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I think one of the problems of the many problems we face is that we were, as Caymanians, we were never able to initiate the transition periods when they came. One of the primary transition periods was back in the 1840s and 1850s after emancipation, when a lot of Caymanians left and went. They left and went west. They went to Southwest, they went to the Bay Islands, they went to Nicaragua, they went to Honduras, Belize, which was British colony then for better life, better soil, better opportunities. And then there were the wars that came. Caymanians went out in the wars, the First World War, the Second World War, and then after that, then there was I call it the national bug period, where every Caymanian man, male, from age 14, had a job that he knew that he could go to work for. When I was growing up, I knew where I was going to work. I knew where I had a job. As soon as I got 15 or 14 years old, I was with National Bug Carriers. That period ended, and then we got into the financial period in the 1960s, where people came here from Bahamas because they were scared of the black government, Lyndon Finland, who took over the island and said, enough is enough. And they wanted to find someplace else to move their financial institutions, and they start looking around, and they came here. We invited them in here. Well, that was the period in which we didn't see then that would become the background, the foundation for what's happening today. Because when they came and they brought the institution, they never intended to include the Caymanians in them. They were looking for a place, an enclave, to make more money for themselves and so forth. And then that was the period when we did not have the kind of education that we have today, because one of the things that we never accepted after emancipation was educational institutions. So to provide us the Teflon response to slavery and what it did to us psychologically and physically and so forth. So when they came here, we were still seamen, fishermen. The town was mostly small towns, and they took advantage of that because the people who they met first were what we call the so-called local elite, and they were not happy to have people from a different background, a different economic and social background to interact with them. And so the foundation of what we are today happened back in the 1960s, in the middle 1960s. So what happened now? Then there were certain Caymanians who break away from that old thinking and went off to universities and came back in the 1980s with their education and their professions and so forth. And that was the period that I'm talking about, that the changes never happened then. What they did, they maligned them and said they were black power and they were communists and everything. And they turned their own people against them. And even when they tried to get into the legislature and tried to make changes, it was an enormous rejection of the education system, of the education standards that they brought. And so when they left the scene, when they were ousted and thrown down outside and maligned and used as fodder and not allowed to get into the financial system to become financial independent, they pointed to them and say, look at what education does to you. It's not but a failure. And then the period that we're in now comes from that period.
Wow.
So the problem that we have now is that the local people have really no institutions are to protect their interests. There's not an institution here that protects their interests. Of course, we've lost the economic power that we had, the economic independence that we had. It doesn't exist for Caymanians anymore now. It's dictated from global financing now. It's not dictated from local financing as it was before. It's dictated from global financing, and global financing does not have you and us and me and you. People look like us and people like you as the focus on which it's on the importance. And so now we are in our own country, just like strangers. It's just like what they say. A person's not honored in his own country. That is what it means. We have no place because we are the voice of change, and they don't want any change from the system that exists today, because it's a system of domination, of economic, social, and now they're fighting for political domination also. It's a system of domination, and we have nothing. We have no unions to protect workers. We have no unions to protect people. We have no institutions. We don't have our own banking system anymore like we used to have before. And everything now has just gone from us. For instance, one of the things that bothered me lately...
Dr. McField, I don't mean to be rude and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm 4 minutes past the commercial break and I only have a few minutes left with one of the guests, so I really would like them to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. I'm really sorry, but thank you. Thank you for calling in. We do have to go to a commercial break real quick.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we're introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new Boneless Hot Sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Cayman Islands, clear your calendars because something extraordinary is coming your way. Ignite the Fire, hosted by Christ for All Nations, is roaring into the Lions Center from November 29th to December 3rd. Join us for an epic worship and gospel event, a monumental move of God that will transform lives and reveal destinies. Don't miss this 5-night, once-in-a-generation experience. Be a part of history in the making. Ignite the Fire, Cayman. Mark your date, November 29th to December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. nightly, and get ready for an unforgettable spiritual journey that will set your heart ablaze. Cayman and you will never be the same again.
Introducing Digicel's all-new prepaid plans. Packed with more any-use data than ever before. Entertainment data for the apps you love, like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you're always in the know. Stay connected. Stay entertained with Digicel's new prepaid plans. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected.
The Justices of the Peace Association of the Cayman Islands will be holding its annual general meeting on Wednesday, 1st November, 5 p.m. in the conference room 1038, ground floor of the Government Administration Building. The agenda will include donations to non-profit organizations associated with active Justices of the Peace who passed away this year. A reminder that membership fees are also due and should be paid at this forum. Refreshments will be provided.
Listening to the general public.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Because
There are more questions than answers.
waiting to take your calls right now.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we're talking about the cost of living. We had Kayla had to leave. I'm so sad, but she had another engagement that she has to make it to. You know, everybody's giving me some time out of their jobs today, so I thank you for that. Dr. Steve, thank you so much for your comments, and I want to know if our two panelists, Colin and Vic, if you have anything that you wanted to say in response to Dr. Steve's comments.
No, I think there's no one more qualified to talk about the history and the past of Cayman than Dr. Steve. Highly esteemed, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. And then in terms of this current situation scenario, you have to have an understanding of the past. You have to understand what systems, what things took place that brought us here. And like I said, it's nothing I can add to that. He's very much on point. And if we want to have any success or any changes in a positive light, then we have to start to, tackle some of those things that he mentioned in terms of, the structures and systems that have been in place for quite some time, and to make some serious strides at trying to address them and attack them to get us forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Same thing. I can't really add or take away either. It's just, once again, history repeats itself sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And we have to look back to make sure we're not doing the same thing over or doing something just as, adjacent to what we're trying to get away from, in that sense. So I will definitely say, I agree with a lot that he said. And maybe we need to, once again, have those uncomfortable conversations. Yeah. And I think that's a starting point most times, because hence the conversation you were talking about. If we never had that conversation, you probably wouldn't have seen it like so many people having this problem.
Right.
Because we're not talking about it loud. We're just like kind of saying, everybody knows that
just
we're
in their circles.
Yeah,
really.
Everybody knows we're dealing with this. Everybody knows we're dealing with that. But at what extent?
Right.
At what extent? So it's at that point now where, like, I guess he was trying to mention, there will be no middle class per se.
Yeah.
So that's something we need to look at for sure.
That's why I want to have these convos, because it's like, okay, we can just talk about it, but we can also be a part of a solution and try to put those ideas out there. Vic, I know you said around the pandemic or pre-pandemic you were kind of shopping for a home, right? Mm-hmm. Have you been successful? I haven't heard about this update with you if you have, so I hope so.
Yeah, I was successful. I was taking my time.
Congrats, sir.
Thank you,
congratulations.
man. And that was a good learning experience. You think you may have an idea going into certain things, but just dealing with the banks, dealing with the realtors, dealing with the people, dealing with the sellers, it's a whirlwind experience. So one of the things that was important to me was to kind of share that with others who were going through it or who were thinking about going through purchasing homes, and some of the tricks and tactics that just take place. Because we do have a lot of people who are just genuinely, listen, this is something that I've been taught and told to do, go to be a homeowner in my country and to do all these nifty things and have security, but it's just not always as straightforward as it appears to be sometimes. And I think back to the issue about having these conversations is that we need to continue to do that and to have conversations. I'm always a big proponent of that. You're talking about from Youth Flex days to helping to host Talk Today. One thing we don't do well in this country is to have open and honest dialogues.
True.
And I think once you've gotten into a position or you've experienced something, it's your sort of remit to kind of give that back to someone else. That's one of the things that we can do on this earth is to pay it forward and to at least share and to give that. So those, me and calling it hip hop, you too, Kathy, hip hop. But it's to share those share those gems, right? So that someone else's journey behind you is not as difficult as yours may have been.
Speaking about that as well too, being a father, Victor of 2, and I think about it all the time, like, how will my daughter be able to operate in this country later on if it's getting this bad and it's only increasing? And hopefully in the next 15 years when she's 17, I'm gonna try to wait on it a little bit, just take it.
Enjoy like right now.
But at the same time, it makes you think in terms of that. My wife and I, we talk about it all the time. We think about how she's going to be able to live here in her own country. So I guess with us trying our best to make sure that is possible for her. I also, and I say this to you all the time, and my heart, I hope people could feel the sentiment of it, but my heart goes out to, those one income households.
Oh, for sure.
My heart goes out to those people because I my mom, and
shout out to my... You're reading my mind right now.
And shout out to my grandmother who's listening right now, Miss Elsie Borden. Love you, Mama. If it wasn't for her and my mom, just being there for me, giving me... just that the knowledge and the tools to navigate in certain ways, being able to do stuff. So perfect example, my mother, when I first started working, she would say to me, "Hey, what are you doing with your money?" And I'm like, because, I'm young. I was 19 at the time. And she said, "All right, just give me this much every month, not to go to this or anything." And, that put me in a place. So I used that money to buy land at the time. So
she would put it away for you?
No, put it away. We went to look at the land, everything, and she's like, "This is how much it is to pay to own." And I did that, and that was a good thing. But that was when I was 19, which was a couple moons back, and at my salary at the time, I couldn't afford to build on this. At the same time. So I think that's a lot of people are dealing with that as well.
Right.
They have the land, but they don't have the means to get that down payment to go to the bank, or even to, in like you guys were saying earlier, like 400 square feet for a place to live is not feasible for a family of 2, 3 or more. So it's those things. So I just pray that we get something together that we could help the people and still continue to be a guidance to the people that can't make it financially in certain instances.
400 square feet for
that's
something
crazy,
just under $500,000.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
It's luxury, man.
Oh man,
I think we do a really good job too in Cayman of romanticizing the past, and I think once we start to admit that these days are not coming back, and there's a new what's the word? There's a new course to chart. Yeah. Think about me and you, haircuts. Like haircuts used to be $10. Right?
Oh yeah, think about all the time.
Those are long gone, right? The potty for 90 cents or $1. That's long gone. So even in terms of your house lots that you're going to be purchasing, you look at the condos that are going up. You're not going to get these lots that your mom got, for example.
Oh.
It's going to be a lot tighter as we look to build that infrastructure for this 80,000 currently that we're at now. I think Compass has a really good article up right now that dropped in their paper today. You look at the population in 1990, it was about 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So just even that, 30 years? Just say give or take 30 years. Yeah, what we're doing. It's just yesterday is gone, and we have to really have brave. I would say conversations, but also brave people who are gonna chart the course moving forward, and to have these honest and open dialogues. That listen, that's no longer the case anymore. This is now moving forward.
Definitely. How
do we address this, and also to address I think you had a question for us about spending patterns and things that we're accustomed to doing. You talk about the self-help, and things that we would do for like self-care. Right now, currently, we can't do that, right? So I'm not spending extra money to get this particular service done, for example. It's just the new norm, I would say. It's the new norm. And some of it's going to be uncomfortable, but we have to at least acknowledge it and figure out a way together to kind of move forward and to track that path.
There's a meme that I had shared. It was something like, who's talking about romance in this economy? Like, who's thinking about romance or anything in this economy? No,
Netflix keeps going up too. Come on, everything, everywhere.
That's just, an extra little thing that I can't think about right now. And you guys, both of you
No,
are married,
but
right?
someone said it to me. You gotta get creative, and that's where those walks come in on the beach come in.
Walks on the beach.
So yeah.
Right, but you're both married,
Yes,
correct? Right. Do you think that you'd be both homeowners in the position that you are right now, and your new homeowner?
You
as
don't
well?
even have to finish that question. No.
If you were single, would you be in the position you are right now?
If you built it out of like straw, maybe.
Well, I remember talking to Kurt Tibbetts many years ago and talking about how those guys just get together and just go help build each other's homes, brick at a time.
Partner.
Yeah, so maybe on that vibe, but in terms of being a single person now trying to afford a mortgage and that sort of stuff, you wouldn't get you wouldn't necessarily get the look.
You would not. Yeah. And once again, I was my mother-in-law. We were talking, and one of the things that struck me too is teaching our youth from young these things, like teaching the tariff, all these the things that you're going to need to navigate in the Cayman Islands, and that's one of the things that I think we should talk about, I guess, when we go from the break.
We do. We got to go for a break, and I forgot we had a caller, so we'll take the caller after the break too.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles until December 31st, 2023. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
After a storm, please do not use the public water supply until the Water Authority advises it is safe to do so. If the water supply becomes contaminated and unsafe to drink, the authority will issue a boil water notice. To comply with the notice, boil water vigorously for 1 minute and let it cool before drinking. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
You don't sound too good there, Bobo.
Yeah, you know how it is. With the kids back in school, every other week they coming out with something, and then I catch it.
Sound like it gets you, but for real, brother, flu season is here and COVID is still around. You gotta stock up on things like medicine, vitamins, and minerals for you and the kids. You know what they say, prevention is better than cure.
At ValueMed, our pharmacists can help manage flu symptoms and provide guidance on vitamins and minerals to best support you and your family's overall health. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown, or WhatsApp your questions and prescription refills to ValueMed on Walkers Road at 926-1662 or WhatsApp ValueMed in Boddentown at 916-5511. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
International Lighting turns 37. And get this, to celebrate, Ed says to drop by and enjoy up to 30% off of purchases. And some items are up to 50% off. Come in and see the great selections of Hunter ceiling fans, starting at $99. Light fixtures, housewares, kitchen and area rugs, curtains, comforter sets, kitchen cabinets, and a whole lot more. International Lighting and the Bathroom Palace, located at Ed's Plaza, 194 North Soundway. Call 949-5141. Happy 37th anniversary, International Lighting.
Did you know that once properly sanitized, some tinned food items may still be safe for consumption after coming in contact with floodwater? In order to properly sanitize these tins, always remove labels, and then wash tins in a strong detergent solution using a brush to get rid of excess impurities. Tins must then be immersed in a solution made of 2 tablespoons of chlorine bleach per gallon of water for 10 minutes. Ensure that containers are air dried before opening.
For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit DAH website at www.gov.ky/DAH.
listening to the general
The
public.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Because
There are more questions than answers.
waiting to take your calls right now.
What the public is saying.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, and I have in studio with me this afternoon Colin Bodden and Victor Crumbly, and we were talking about the cost of living. I've got some, I call you guys young Caymanians, you're millennials, and even though Vic was like, oh, I'm feeling a little older now, man, you're still young in my eyes. So we got a caller online. I know he's been waiting for a little while, so if we can take that caller and welcome them to Talk Today. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Miller. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for waiting.
Okay. I'd like to say it to our people. I mean, I got relatives in different countries too. People move back and forth. They try to live life, enjoy themselves, whatever, what makes them comfortable. But I'd like to say something, because I haven't looked at things from this angle very often. But these people are people that are leaving. They're employed, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me something. Is it Caymanian going to get a job, or is it the foreigner going to get a job? Because that'll be like, I don't know what to say.
I don't know. That's up to whoever's hiring.
Yeah, so maybe that would be more like prophetic sort of thing that they'll take place when they say that someone is taking my job, a foreigner taking my job. That's why I hear a lot of people complain about, even though no one taking my job. And I don't plan to leave either. But anyway, I love my people from different countries, so, it's good to visit. It's good to move sometimes, but I'm just saying that will be more like prophetic when it happens, when you leave, and because you can't guarantee the Cayman is going to get your job. You can't even say that they have to get your job or a foreign person going to get a job.
Right.
So the more leaves, the more that leave. Well, if you see what I'm saying.
I do. The more cheaper labor we can bring in, which is what is happening, because how do we go from 60 to 80,000? You feel me?
Let me tell
So,
you. And look, you know something? If someone can come to Cayman and survive on $6 and $7 an hour, let me tell you something. That's like like a soldier.
they're barely doing it though, and they are shacking up in homes together, like 6-7 people in a 1-2 bedroom home, and there's certain nationalities that are doing that, and I think we know who they are. So, but that's leading to what people locally are doing as well. So it's forcing a lot of people to get roommates that never really maybe had to be in that situation, or that's the only thing that they can do, or stay in situations where they don't want to be in. I can see a rise in domestic violence happening. Yeah, sure. I can see a lot more transactional relationships happening. So it's pretty scary all around. So again, if people cannot survive here and they're Caymanian in their own country and have to leave, but other people will come and say, hey, I can go live with my cousin from the Philippines who's been here for a couple years, and we're, there's 3 of us in a room, but I'll be okay. I'll try to save some money and send it back home. These are issues. Who are we catering to in Cayman? Thank you, caller. I do have another call that's on WhatsApp, so I got to take them, and then we got to go to 2 p.m. headline news probably after that. So if we can take the WhatsApp caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good afternoon to you. Guess there too.
Afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Well, where Cayman is now is at the crossroads, and it coming like there's no border to know which direction to go in, and it isn't hard to get out of this situation where we in. It's gonna take us a little time to get in, because we never end up in this situation overnight. But to make the decision isn't hard to do. the government and the country just got to focus on their own people. That is all. The capitalistic model doesn't work anymore for Cayman. That's run its course. That's destroying. I don't know why the rest of the world can't see this. Those that support capitalism, that's destroyed the world over. It's time for us to focus on our people. It's time to have a more socialist government. Cayman needs that, a proactive government for their people. That's all it takes. And I mean, socialism doesn't have to be a bad word, and that doesn't mean that we have to hate foreigners from coming here. We just gotta develop more of a balance, because now the cup is overflowing, and there's nobody to say, well, all right, we got to pull the cup from under the faucet now because it's overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. It's just greed. The people that are in charge, that are making money, they don't want to take less of a paycheck nowadays. The rich can get richer and the poor keep getting poorer.
I agree.
I mean, we all know those words from time we were growing up. I've been preaching this from time I came out of school 35 years ago. I saw it from time I was in school.
Wow.
And it's still, we still got a government from 35 years ago that the country advanced, and Cayman is more advanced, the situation, and we still riding that donkey and driving a car where we were driving from 35, 40 years ago. And the car and it needs to be upgraded. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Planning could do a lot of stuff. You remember back in the days when you could have started to build your house from time you get the blocks up, the roof on, you could have moved in, right? You could have went there with an extension cord and put light in your house, and you're gone in. You get out of paying rent. You're not gonna pay rent no matter what you had for rent at the end of the month. You could have go towards the loan or go towards fixing up the house. They put a stumbling block in front of that. Now you can't do that. Now you gotta wait till the CEO till you get a CEO to go to move in the house. All of that is a hindrance to the Caymanian people. You see, and it's favoring the banks.
And good God, how long they take before the certificate of occupation comes.
Yeah, and you just say that a little while ago, Miss Cathy, the government doesn't want to do anything about it. The people could only do so much, you know. Yeah. The next step now, you got them young people outside there now. What the next step is? If they're not good to partition the government, they're not gonna pay that in the mind. They're gonna just throw that one side. Yeah. So it's not good. If you got a revolution, then you got it can be worse. So it's left for the government. People just saying it left to the people, and now left to the people can't do no more. The people discouraged, they can't do no more.
Yeah, I agree. Caller, I'm sorry I have to cut you off, but we got to go to our 2 p.m. headline news. But you do make some great points, and I agree with you especially about the rich getting richer. Before we go to the news, I will say that I myself have heard from some Caymanian friends who were doing okay and that have done really well in their job and their profession. They've been able to acquire homes, and for them it's like, well, we need to cater to foreign investors. Like, I'm okay now. I'm all right. So I don't really, to what that said to me was, I don't really care about anybody who's doing worse than me because I'm okay.
Yes.
And that level of thinking it completely blew my mind.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. So we got to go to 2 p.m. headline news. Let's come back on that note after our news and commercial.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Cayman National Cultural Foundation presents Under the Breadfruit Tree in celebration of the Cayman Islands Folk Singers' 14th anniversary on October 28th and 29th at the Harco Theatre at 7 and 6 p.m. Get tickets on ticketplus.ky. In international news, a lawsuit against fashion brand Abercrombie & Fitch accusing the firm of funding a sex trafficking operation has been filed in New York. The company allowed ex-CEO Mike Jeffries unfettered access to resources to support his criminal enterprise, documents allege. The lawsuit follows a BBC investigation into allegations Mr. Jeffries exploited men at events he hosted while CEO. A brand spokesperson said the company would not be commenting on the case. Russia's central bank has put up its key interest rate to 15% to try to curb inflation and bolster a weak ruble. The higher-than-expected rate hike of 2 percentage points raises borrowing costs for the fourth time in a row. Globally, the pace of price rises has been high, in part due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Inflation in Russia hit 6% in September. There has also been increased government spending in Russia as it pours resources into its war machine. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. Today's biggest news.
How can you make a classic BLT sandwich even better? Well, by adding tuna. Wow. The land meets the sea in Subway's new sandwich, the Tuna BLT, available for a limited time. The Tuna BLT is exploding with flavor. Imagine crispy, juicy bacon strips on top of tuna, fresh lettuce, and slices of tomato, topped with your favorite sauce and choice of freshly baked bread. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the Tuna BLT from Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Upgrade your connection with Digicel's all-new postpaid plans. Experience the freedom of endless local calls, more any use data to browse, entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok, and endless social data for WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's not all. Stay connected when you travel with roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean, and make calls while abroad with more international minutes than ever before. Stay connected on the fastest, most reliable network. Make the switch today. Digicel, better connected.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from October 23rd through the 28th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited, whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles. Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks this afternoon, and I have in studio with me Colin Bodden and Victor Crumbly. We had earlier with us Kayla Wells, and we are discussing the cost of living in Cayman. We just had a caller via WhatsApp that had left some really good points as well. So if either of you want to reflect on what his points were, please go ahead.
One of the points he had was, so many people living in one space together to make, I guess, amends or to make...
Right.
I would say that should be something that we probably should look at in terms of younger Caymanians being able to come together, live in a space, and be able to save based on that,
Like have roommates.
Have roommates, because it's, once again, that's something that wasn't really ingrained in our culture per se, so even in a place of work as well, we always were told, you had to be in the bank or into an office, and I would say lately I've seen a lot more people take on heavy equipment stuff, and younger people taking on those jobs that we deemed as beneath us, kind of thing.
Right.
Or that's what was kind of given. But I think if we could actually look at it as honing together, getting skills, living with each other in that framework, because right now I would prefer, if I was in that situation, I would prefer to have a bunch of roommates and be able to save than to try to have my own place and not be able to buy anything in the long run.
Yeah, to me that makes sense. But you said that's more of a cultural thing, that it's more in your culture, not.
If we're being real about it.
Yeah.
Vic?
Yeah. No, I think Colin hit it in the head in terms of there's some things that we can learn from other cultures that we should probably try to adapt, and to sort of make our own. We have to readjust our thinking. I think I may have spoke to that previously on the show, that we have to adjust to a new norm. I saw recently someone on, I want to say, I think it was Instagram, a mother to one child who was floating the question on whether or not other mothers out there would be open to sort of working together and buying a property or renting a space together to live, for that, I guess, that same reason, which is to save on costs.
Yeah. But
maybe even also too, just to going back to that kind of health aspect of having a common space with someone who's going through the same things that you're going through. I think that'd probably be even good for the children, for example, to kind of have sort of like a partner in crime, so to speak, in the house, right? So it's just these back to this idea that there's not going to be a silver bullet. The caller touched on it took a lot of years to get us here. So it's probably going to take us a lot of years to get us out of here, or to at least a situation that's manageable. We have to continue to strive for it. And I think one of Kathy's point that I was going to get to, that I sort of hinted on earlier, was I'm a little concerned that if things become too bad, where people say, well, why bother or why try? But then also, I've been down bad so long, now that I've gotten my foot up and I'm making a decent income, or I have the nice things, i.e. the house, the car, now it's a situation where I don't really care about what else is out there happening. And our people aren't cross enough to say it as blunt as that, but you kind of see it once they kind of fall back from society and it's all just about me.
Right.
And
they change their friend groups even a bit.
Change their friends, change the groups, right? Yeah. So that's a big concern that I have when you look at in terms of us being a people, being one. Where does that lead us for the next 15, 20 years? If all of our people are just concerned with self.
I'll touch on that from a standpoint of this. This is something I say to people all the time, and it's just a joke, but it's real. Like, why would you buy bike parts if you don't own a bike, right? There's gonna go and buy bike parts. So to add to what you were talking about and just not caring, sometimes it's that people aren't in that situation based on other things, right? But it's not like they don't necessarily care. So for instance, for me, I didn't care about at the cost of Pampers and wipes and these things when before my daughter. I didn't care. When I say didn't care, it's not that I don't care. It's just that it's not on the first thing on my mind. And it's not that it's a bad thing. But once again, it's just having these conversations, just having people openly and honestly say what they need to say.
Yeah.
You know, I think we kind of sugarcoat a lot of stuff. I try to be as real as I can without coming off like what you're saying, crass and everything else. And I think one of those things is we are, you know, we tend to blame other people for our downfall as well. You know, instead of adapting, like what we're talking about now, we should take these things, take these tools that the people that are coming here and doing this job or doing these jobs, we need to learn from them. Not just criticize, but learn from them to some degree, you know?
I wanted to bring up, so, yeah, there's people, you know, that might not care necessarily how somebody's doing beneath their standard of living or where they're at, right? But with all the people that are leaving, all the Caymanians that are going to a different country to survive, I've seen a lot of comments online from Caymanians, people I know that I'm just shocked at, saying, let them leave, good, let them go. About their own people, you know, let them go, see what it's like living over there. This is the best place in the world. And I'm like, okay, we know Cayman is a paradise.
It is,
but
it is.
That's also a bit of a facade in a sense. Is it
For
really
some,
is it really a paradise for a majority of us that are living here and struggling?
Yeah.
You know? So when I see those comments too, I'm like, well, that doesn't really help. That's just.
So even with that, I mean, when you say as a, you know, our people go ahead and leave, go ahead, like fine, go ahead. That also has ramifications for us as a people here. So even back to Colin's comment about Pampers, because we see that with a lot of our young people who don't want to engage in politics. Oh, that doesn't have anything to do with me. So let me leave it alone. But if I was to turn around and tell you that there's a government department that probably spends money on Pampers to help people who can't afford Pampers, maybe your outlook would be different because you're paying your taxes that is now being redirected to do that. So, for example, with the free lunch program at school right now, you know, that money isn't coming out of thin air. So that's going to come from your taxes that you're paying. I think we have to do a better job of explaining to people what is the macro picture here. What's the larger picture, and how does this one decision or this one situation influence or is going to come back to me? So even people leaving, I mean, that's on us to, you know, currently put into the pensions right now. So the older people of today can live and have
and retire,
retire, right? People leaving doesn't benefit us in the long term when we eventually get to that age, right? You know, so it's a lot. I remember a politician a couple of months ago, I think, made a comment that we need to have more children, and we laugh, right? But at the same time, I understood exactly what he meant. But then back to Colin's point, bro, it's kind of hard out here right now to have more children.
Yeah. Colin, you have a 2-year-old.
I do.
And how much does it cost to have her half a day per month? And
yeah, that's over 1,000. Yeah. So I would say and that hurts me in the sense of, like, I'm not saying that things don't cost that amount or what, you know, or the people involved that get it is not that. Is what I'm saying is that I even have to think about having another child to be able to put them in the same school as their sibling,
right?
Because I mean, what people have been having to do is just basically when they have a child and then they have another, they'll have to take one child out of a certain school and put them into the a public school, you know, and that's a whole different dynamic for them, and it's just a transitioning and so on and so forth. Yeah, so you have to think about that, and that's the crazy part. And growing up, and once again, shout out to my grandmother, it took a village. It took a village to really raise kids nowadays, you know, and it's because everyone came together, like we were talking earlier. Somebody's, you know, your neighbor's cooking, boom, you got food for the night. You know, you need work around the house, you know, neighbors, like it was just that love, and I think that's the next thing we're missing as well. We're too caught up in other things to the point that we're not even caring for ourselves and the people around us, you know, and not giving each other a helping hand in other means. And one of those things is mentoring as well. Being able to talk to younger people and tell them to, you know, you should be a voter. You should look at the climate, you know, the financial climate and stuff. And once again, I'm not a financial guru or you know, or anything of that nature. But at the same time, I kind of been navigating the way I have. And once again, thanks to my mom and my grandmother for giving me the tools in that sense. And I think we just have to start back from the beginning. And that is teaching kids that, hey, that hard work ethic. I think Mr. Steve said it earlier, that when he started to work at 14, you know, like kids now, for instance, let's go in that, kids now, they get to chill in summer I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what my
They're
day
running
was?
your old neighborhood a wreck. I can
Right.
tell you, I was been
So-
terrorized over the past few weeks by teenagers just absolutely doing nothing besides terrorizing
and
people.
that's my
It's
point.
ridiculous.
So as far as I could remember myself, I've been working, and one of those things. I mean, I remember even during like regular school years, like we would go bag at the supermarket after school, and then when we would leave at 10. Back then the supermarket closed at 10 o'clock. It wasn't like 11 now, and we would leave like 9 o'clock, get home, do homework, and then do it all over the next day. Summer, I would be working with my uncle or doing something else, like having to work and making money, and having parents teach you how the importance of the value of $1, and it's not for free. So we have a lot of younger people now that are just sitting on their parents' couch and expecting a change. That's not how we're going to do it at all.
I agree with you. On that. There was a comment that I want to read that has come in from somebody. It's a little lengthy, so this is via WhatsApp. The cost of living continuously increases each year, and no government has tackled this. There have been many campaign promises, highlights of the increases and how hard day-to-day life is, but no action whatsoever by any of the former governments since I've been able to vote 4 elections ago. We are not asking for handouts, most of us. We are asking for fairness, being the minority in our country. And we know the Caymanians are now the minority. We've seen the stats come from the ESO. So imagine you are considered extremely blessed to be able to be in debt with a mortgage for 20 to 25 years. While I was fortunate to be able to obtain such debt, I am not able to set aside or purchase even land for my child based on my salary. In order to pay a mortgage on a 3-bedroom home, afford utilities, general home maintenance, groceries, gas, school fees, and extracurricular activities, and save, you need to be taking home $6,000 per month. How many single Caymanians can say they bring this home? God forbid you have home repairs. Most of us aren't able to maintain our homes either. Serious sacrifices have been made by many to have their children enrolled in private school because there is so much bad in the government systems, and while we do have success stories, majority of the children are simply being passed through and leave high school unemployable but are expected to survive and be successful in minimum wage jobs. Why is it that a non-Caymanian was able to come to our island, throw money at us, gain status, and become the largest sole proprietor landowner in the Cayman Islands, owning more land than the Crown? But we can't even get our first 2 properties stamp duty free? The previous governments lost their balance on how to make this country successful, but pretty much eliminated the middle class, which is what makes a country run. Spend the most and do the most in the economy. The current one doesn't seem to know their foot from something else, and has no structure or real care for its people despite being named, quote, people-driven, accountable, competent, and transparent, end quote. I am sick of the politicians making promises, especially seasoned politicians who know better to try to sell these promises of things they know they can't deliver. A serious consideration must be done to look at measures and ensure that Caymanians are who, especially the ones who are not and don't want to be a burden of the country, survive and succeed. That was a very, a lot in that comment. It was a heavy comment right there.
You got to leave it on that note, man. There's nothing else you can really say after that.
But we got some time in the show still. We got about 10 minutes left on the show here. We do have a caller that did call in, so let's take that call. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon to you, Ms. Miller, and good afternoon to your guests.
Good afternoon, sir.
Firstly, I'd just like to say happy birthday to my sister, Novia. This is Mickey Hurst.
Yes, sir.
My Novia, tomorrow is her birthday.
Happy birthday,
Ms. Novia.
Happy birthday to her. Tried this morning, Mr. O.C. show. You're talking about cost of living, and I heard a little bit of Dr. Marquis and the rest of it. You're sure I wasn't able to hear, but I know you're all young. You don't remember the glory days, Cayman for Caymanians 50 years ago. So very, very, very different Caymans for Caymanians. We've now got 140 something or maybe more nationalities here living and working. If anyone thought that this could operate smoothly, they were living in a dream. And those who think it can be straight and that we would be able to assimilate and so forth easily, it's not going to happen. That's not gonna happen in this small 78 square miles in Grand Cayman is, which the majority of the whole situation is here. Before we were put on these red, gray, blue, black, green, gray, and brown lists, we lived quite happily, very easily, with the economy that we control, we Caymanians. And we were employed, everybody. I can remember the days of running a car rental business, helping to run it, and a car agency. And my brother and I were working with them. And we ran the business for the people. And I couldn't find, sometimes I'd have to go pick up rental cars, and those guys are home from sea. They'd say, I come pick you up and so forth. I asked them if they want to work. Oh, no, they wouldn't need that. They're going back to sea, and they're having whatever employment here, totally overemployed. And that was it. And they'd do it with me gladly for free and so forth. I don't forget those days at all. I had everything I know. I had a washing machine, I had telephone, and electricity and so forth. Quite running perfectly well. We got into the business of handling big monies for people. And there are people who have come here and made themselves millionaires. I've watched people who came here with little more than one pants and shirt and one pants to wear on their backsides and one pair of shoes. And they became millionaires in 20 years, multi-millionaires, and retired. And that shows there's plenty of money, and we know it. We boast about all the money passing through, and the money here that's in captive insurance and in all kinds of funds and so forth. But and these people have made a lot of money, and yet still we have to go abroad and try to promote the business, and the government has to do that. And I don't hear of them charging these people to do these things, going abroad, have these meetings. It costs a lot of money to try to get us off of the grey list and onto the white list. And these people aren't paying for it because we have the wrong system of taxation. There's a lot of money here. Cost of living is a ratio. It's what you earn compared to what you can spend and buy to have a decent living. And the things that, and to people who are earning big monies, and there are many here, and you know it and I know it, it's not high at all. There are countries where it would be much higher, the cost of living. It's high for the little guy, as you just said, $6 an hour.
Correct.
We don't have any unions here, labor unions.
No.
Bermuda is in the same position we're in. That's the business they're in. But their minimum wage is $12.50 US. They're dollar for dollar with the US long time ago. 10 Cayman dollars an hour, and they're going to put it up to 15, I believe. It's going to be put up because they have a salary-based taxation system. Everybody must pay. They have direct income tax. If we think we can continue to run the country without some form of direct income tax, I've been saying it for nearly 30 years. We're fooling ourselves. We're fooling ourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Hurlston. Thank you. I have to cut you off there. I'm sorry. I only have a few minutes left in the show, and we got to get a couple of we're going to have closing comments, and I got to get a couple of questions off as well. But that is a very possible change that could happen, and you know, I guess for those who don't like it, some people will say, "Go ahead and leave." Right? I guess we'll see what happens. There's a lot of, you know, negative consequences that are happening in Cayman with our cost of living. But what do you think will happen to Cayman and Caymanians if this keeps getting out of control? And I know that Colin, you mentioned a couple of things, but if you would have kind of any other ideas or solutions that could be kind of brought to the table that we want people to hear about, please share that now before we got to close off the show.
I think we spoke about it as well during the break. That is one of the things I would like to see, definitely. excuse me. One of the things I'd like to see is definitely, the government being behind farmers, and because we have no natural resources of that magnitude to be able to live off them, and I think we need to definitely push in terms of that, because the pandemic definitely taught us a lot.
Yeah.
What if we can't just be, reliant on imports for every single thing, and we all know that sustenance is one of the things we need to eat. So let's try to focus on having at least that. Like I was saying to you, one of the things I'd love to see is thriving farmers markets in all the districts. I mean, to the point where it's like you'd prefer going there than to the store in that sense, because it's affordable, it's from here, it's less preservatives and so on and so forth.
I want to say the eggs. I try to buy the local eggs in the supermarkets, and sometimes it costs more to buy the local eggs than the imported ones.
Yeah, because I mean, in the store, they got to pay their staff, so
they're going to pay them anyway, especially with the other stuff that they import, and So I'm like, but you're not even paying import fees for those. So you feel me?
Yeah.
So that's
and they need to regulate a lot of stuff as well too. So there's a lot of duty free things that are very expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Vic?
I'm trying to remember the question here. I think for the most part we are probably in something now for the foreseeable future. I don't want to say it's going to get, like, what's the word, like the phrase that it gets worse before it gets better. But I do think we perhaps need to kind of buckle up and be prepared to kind of ride this thing out a little bit longer. I know Talk Today's audience is perhaps a mature person who may have resources at their disposal. I know we had a comment that came in about, I guess, sort of organizing.
Yeah.
And I think that would be sort of key. If you can, talk to young people, talk to people who have that energy. You may not have it, so maybe you have the resources, the spacing, the time, the money.
Do you think they want to listen to you?
What do you mean? Sorry.
So the comment that came in was, you guys sound like great and bright, you have a lot to say about it, that perhaps that you should organize some talks with the youth to help guide them.
Oh, for sure.
Do you think they'll listen?
Yeah, for sure. We've seen some things that work in doing that, but it always usually comes down to like a capacity issue and resources. You talk about having the venues, having the money to be on social media, the know-how to do it. It's organizing isn't cheap, I should say.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to go behind that. So if you have someone who's perhaps listening and has the resources, has the capacity to assist with the group, then they should definitely do that, to sort of encourage involvement from young people, but also the ideas and bringing it to the forefront. Because I agree, it's not a situation where it's just on government. It's also on the people as well. And it has to be this sort of this tango, this dance. Yeah. So. I think we need that. I think we want to see people getting back to being active and being socially responsible and what's going on, and that comes back to the civics and whatnot. We see it kind of pop up every time when there's an election, so every 4 years. But we need something. I guess, long term. We need the think tanks, and we need the civil society groups that are just trying to advance us and see us go forward. It's got to be more than just sharing IG memes and donating to food pantries. Like we need to really sort of up the game a little bit. So I would say that.
When I was growing up, it was Boys and Girls Club for me, and sometimes the different churches in my town at least would have kind of like an after school thing for kids. So I don't know if that's offered in Cayman. I don't have children in that sense, so I don't know. So I know that there's free programs for sure, especially for the families that can't afford necessarily to put their kids in like a sports club or anything like that. But there are some options out there, and I just think it's how we can also help people to find solutions and better work with them, bring that community togetherness again that callers were speaking about, that we're speaking about in here. And
it takes a village.
It does take a village.
It takes a village.
And it's really going to take a village to help people be able to survive in their own country, really.
Yeah, and my heart goes out to the youth as well. I pray that you are able to see Cayman as your home and not just something that you're here for until you get to that point that you're ready to leave, Yeah. For once again, Cayman is all I know, and Cayman is where I would want to retire, where I would love to see my daughter grow up. and be able to have her own family as well. That's something I would love to see. However, you'll never see a drowning man help another drowning man. It's impossible, in the sense. So if we do, let's hypothetically say we'll have to leave, us as Caymanians have to leave because we can't afford it. That would hurt.
That would hurt.
That would hurt.
Any closing comment from you, Vic?
No, I'm good. Thank you for having us. Like I said, when you call, I answer. So,
thank you for being here. It's always good to get both of your perspectives.
I hope we did. I hope we helped.
And I do want to say, you said shout out to your grandmother, so I want to say that as well, because Colin is definitely one of my favorite people, an absolutely true gentleman. I respect you so much. I really do have so much respect for you. So, Grandma and the mom, you did a great job. I know that much. I know that much. I wish so many more, young men kind of, were like you in that sense. And Vic, the same thing goes for you, man. You've always been a gentleman. You've always been a person of really high standards, but cool, and somebody I really much highly regard. So,
no pressure.
No pressure at all.
Thank you.
But really, if people are looking for somebody to get some guidance and some help from, I don't mean monetarily here, but I mean in mentoring.
Put that disclaimer out there.
Mentoring in that sense, these two are great guys that can kind of help lead you in a way that will work for you. So,
hey,
let's have a look at it.
Before we go, thank you.
Not that I'm selling you as a mentor right
now.
You
are, but it's okay. You took me back to my days when I used to come and guest host Talk Today. Yeah. And I want to say rest in peace to Miss Georgia. She was a real delight to have calling while I was here, and I've always listened to her and appreciated her. And I think we definitely lost a cultural icon when it comes to Miss Georgia.
We did.
Yeah.
She would call us almost every day and pray.
Yeah.
No matter who answered the phone. I didn't know her at all. I've never met her. I've always wanted to meet her, and she would just Kathy, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your family. I'm praying for everybody at Radio Cayman. This is every day that woman didn't miss. And it's been a while that I haven't heard her phone call, but she's been on my mind.
Yeah.
So, rest in peace to her.
Rest in peace.
Right. Thanks for joining us on Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.